Computer, start our 45-minute timer.
45 minutes, starting now.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Ordinal Memoirs on the Rounding Off Infinity Gaming channel on YouTube. This is episode number 305, and I am your host, Gascally Stamus from GearWorks.com and the E2KG network. So we're doing a little bit of backlog gaming this morning. Playing some more PixelJunk Shooter Ultimate on the PlayStation 4 Pro. So this is a game that has been in my backlog for quite some time, but I just never got around to playing it. Now we are in high likelihood of being interrupted this morning. So I am again taking the extreme risk of trying to pull off an early morning game capture. We'll just see if my family will cooperate. Unfortunately, I got a bit of a late start this morning. Later than I had planned or desired. Whoa. Alright. Let's get the heck out of here. So this is one of the things that this game does, is the environment will change around on you. And sometimes it will be helpful, and you will get water that will breach a wall and come down and will cool lava. But sometimes you will get lava that will come down and make your life unpleasant. So I've only played about one level of this. If you watched the Ordinal Memoirs episode number 304, you would have seen that game capture. I'm continuing my experimentation and effort to try and do lighter weights, what I call more agile game captures and streams. And what I may wind up trying a little bit of is trying to progress the complexity of my setup during the week, which will allow me to only troubleshoot an increment at a time. So if you haven't kept up with that whole train of conversation, one of the things that there's a lot of discussion going on now about content creators. And look, I'm no master content creator. I just kind of try to film and capture me doing the things that I really enjoy. And that primary thing is playing video games. I've been playing them for a number of decades, as you can tell by the gray in my beard. But there's a lot of discussion, these days about how, content creators, people who have YouTube channels, your blog, right, that we all kind of are causing ourselves this extreme level of anxiety because we're always, concerned or bothered when we don't post content, right? So I definitely suffer from that. Again, not in the extreme, but it's just a thing that's constantly in my head whenever I haven't written in a while and made a blog post, and I go and look at my webpage, and it's late into the last thing posted was like a month ago. That just kind of eats at me. And then it leads to some bad habits, like becoming hyper-focused on getting those things done, often to the detriment of other things. So that's particularly true with streaming and game captures. So one of the things I've been trying to do is decrease the complexity of my hardware setup for game captures and streaming now. I'm a person who prefers to do captures and streaming with hardware, not so much with software. I don't like using the Xbox One's and PlayStation 4's onboard native streaming capabilities. I'm not always satisfied with the resolution and video fidelity that I see. And again, that may just be me. I'm not saying that I'm right about that. So I prefer to use a video capture card and some other equipment to get my game captures and live streams done. You know, for both PC and consoles. But that also often means a lot of troubleshooting, because, I review those pieces of equipment, talk about them a lot on the game captures and live streams. And so that means I'm constantly changing those setups and configurations throughout the week, or from week to week. Oh, I didn't really mean to do it that way. And that means whenever I have a new hardware setup to configure, I have to get all the settings right in OBS. I have to get the audio mix, especially, is the main thing. I have to check the camera settings and fit, which is a thing that I dorked up last week. I had the webcam all set up for one capture, and then I needed to get cute and felt like I needed to get it absolutely perfect, and then I wound up flubbing it and had my face off camera half the time. And again with that thing of creating anxiety, right? Then what you really want to do is you really want to go back and shoot the video over again, but I clearly don't have time to do that, so it just eats at me all day. So, ooh, I almost didn't see that guy. So, one of the things I started trying to do this week was just, instead of setting up all the equipment, just set up the video capture device and the microphone. And then I'm also trying to record it out into either multiple tracks or just split it out. The multiple track functionality in OBS didn't work quite well for me in terms of capturing it and getting it into a video editor where I could see the multiple tracks. So I think next time I'm just going to record it in Audacity, because I think I can then overlay that video fairly quickly, or overlay the audio onto the video fairly quickly. Figured those diamonds had to do something. So with all that being said, let's go ahead and run down the equipment, hardware, and software that's in play today. So as I mentioned, I am playing PixelJunk Shooter Ultimate, which is a 2014 game. Came out summer of 2014 on PlayStation 4. I think it was available on other platforms earlier, or it may not have been. There's tons of variants of games of the PixelJunk Shooter franchise, so this may have been a game that didn't even show up on other platforms. I am not absolutely positive. Oh, I wasn't that smart. So, like I did mention, I am playing on the PlayStation 4. I have the white Destiny 2 version. Ooh, no. Great. I thought that guy was dead. I didn't mean to do that. Oh, actually I did. The music in this game is great, very lively. I don't know if the deal is because I haven't had this thing absorb enough water. That's probably what it is. So for a video capture device this morning, I'm using the Logitech Live Gamer Extreme GC550. Yeah, I guess I gotta jockey this thing back and forth. Kill the guy. Okay. Yeah, I didn't rescue him in time. Great. Might be starting to look against me. That's the Live Gamer Extreme is a USB 3.0 video capture device, which is triage a bunch of devices that I've had in review units that I've had around in December. This is one of the ones that I kept. Now there are some quirks across two PCs. I've seen it do this thing where once you get it configured, it stops receiving audio, the in-game audio. So that's a bit of an issue. It is resolved by disconnecting it. And reconnecting it. Just a bit of a pain, especially when I talk about, the amount of time that it takes me to troubleshoot and set things up. That can sometimes be the difference between getting a game capture in a given morning and not. For voiceover commentary this morning, I am using, also by AverMedia, the GM310 Aegis. Is that a dude down there? It is. Killed one, saved another. The GM310 is what I call the voice puck. Too many die. That's interesting. So when you kill too many, rather than you losing the mission, it just takes one of your lives. So I'm also pretty happy with the GM310. Pretty decent. Great. This game is called a twin-stick shooter action puzzler. There are elements of all of those genres or sub-genres of the game. Ugh. Come on. You gotta be kidding me. I guess because you're already shielded now. I think I've tried the thing where I've just tried to use the shield to submerge in lava. That has not worked. For a webcam this morning, I'm using the Logitech C920. Need to get out of the way. And all that equipment is connected over to my recently built new streaming PC. It's now my primary capture and streaming PC. It is built on AMD Ryzen 5 1600X, 16 gigabytes of DDR4, 2667 RAM. Whoa, no. And for the time being, I've just stuffed a NVIDIA GeForce GT 710 in it, just to kind of get by. The Ryzen 5 is not an APU, so it did not come with like an integrated video output capability, unlike on my secondary streaming box, which is powered by an Intel Core i3, 6th generation. I think it's a 6920T maybe, or 6920. It did have an integrated GPU, so when I built that one last year, I didn't have to set up a video card. It's a pretty neat build, so I built it in a Thermaltake Core V21, which is a double wide, so it's basically kind of like an ATX case turned, or split in half vertically, and then the two halves stacked side by side, so it's really a pretty amazing case. I'm also amazed, I would have thought that it was like a $100 or more case. It's actually only about 50 bucks. I apologize for the stuffiness. It is spring here in my state, and definitely going to be suffering from allergies this season. What's so amazing about the case of the new streaming build is that the amount of room that it has for airflow is just incredible. And I've kitted it out with, it came with a 200 millimeter intake fan on the front panel. I've added a 120 millimeter exhaust fan. It's got an Arctic Freezer 13 for the CPU cooler. Freezer 13 CO for continuous operation variant. Oh, jeez. Wow, that kind of ran. Oh, no, that's not good. Yeah, you need to get ahead of that move. As I mentioned, one of the things I need to focus on doing is making sure that I rescue people stranded first and get them off the screen before I start shooting a lot. Like I said, I love the little physics model tweaks in here. Like the fact that the heat is bleeding through the ceiling up above you on that level. But yeah, and then I have 4 Thermaltake ring fans mounted on the top panel. Now 2 of those I have rigged as intake fans on one side, and then on the other side they're exhaust fans, so air kind of gets pulled into the case on the left-hand side, intermixes with the air being pulled in on the front panel, and then gets exhausted back out the top and rear of the PC. So after adding those fans in, my temps dropped about 10 degrees. I don't know if I'm going to get out of this. I cannot get through there. Nope. So things went from, the CPU went from idling at 29 degrees Celsius down to 28 degrees Celsius. I was pretty happy about that. I also put in 3 neon LED lights. I really need to get out of this chamber. I don't understand how this whole thing is so hot. There's like a heat miser down there. Go back and cool off a little bit. Just realized I think the light on the PS4 controller is also changing color based on the level that you're on, at least when you're getting hot. Alright, so there's something down here I'm just not figuring out. Okay. So I took him out, so if he does not respawn, then I should be okay. After this, later this weekend, I'm going to be doing another episode of Firearms Tales, which is my series on first-person shooters. And I'll be going back to check out some more Far Cry 5, as I wrote on my blog last night, gearworks.com. Far Cry 5 is my favorite game of the year so far. That's not to say that there have been a lot of huge releases this year, so I don't want to take anything away from Far Cry 5, but I don't. It's my favorite game of the year, but I don't think that it's game of the year material. But from an action perspective, I refer to it as a kind of the Calamity engine, with all the mayhem that you can cause. In similar vein to Just Cause 3, it's definitely a game that I can sink a lot of time into. So yeah, when you push on both sticks, you get the speed boost. I gotta sit here and wait to cool off. Wait. Is there a way to breach? Oh yeah. Oh. Okay. Using the speed boost is also a good way to break the gravity wells and or when you're stuck. You get a lot of drag on the ship when you're near lava. Guess I killed 20 civilians. Gotta do better about that. Come on, man. Oh, forgot that those guys were going to be there. What I'm also bad about in this game is you have a number of like special abilities. That little dash there that I fail to use. Ah. It does appear when you die, you do restart the whole level. Or the board, I'll say. There are multiple boards on the level. Each board is short, though, so the checkpoints are fairly frequent. What this little ship needs in this cavern is like a flamethrower or a drill. Pretty happy with myself with that little last minute save right there. Hopefully that makes up a little bit for all the ones that I've errantly killed otherwise. Okay, so what I don't like about this one is I can't actually see these guys because they're beneath a little score thing on my HUD. Alright, let's go ahead and get the heck out of here. Alright, pretty neat. So then I should also mention, with all that equipment going over to my streaming PC, then I am using OBS as my software application to record it. Now there is a way to use the advanced audio settings to set OBS to record multiple tracks. In my first attempt to do that, I did not capture recording as I had intended to configure it. I was trying to configure it so it would record 3 audio tracks, one with the in-game audio and my voiceover commentary, and then one with just the in-game audio and one with just my voiceover commentary. So if I had problems with volume leveling in terms of the audio mix, stupid. And there was a dude down there, wasn't there? Yeah. So the good thing is all of that. All of that is going to crust over, so I may actually be able to get down there and rescue him. Maybe. If I can figure that out. Oh, you suckers. Oh. Yeah, nah, didn't melt at that, so he's dead. Great. No. Yeah. Can't remember the developer's name on this. I looked it up last night. But, these guys did a good job. Nope. No. Now, were there people down here that I had to rescue? There's that one dude. Come on. No. Are you kidding me? There's got to be a better way to do this that I'm not seeing. No, you don't. Okay, now I think. Alright, so we've got about 10 minutes left. One thing I need to be better about is getting these diamonds. There's no way out. Ugh. Great. So, having to replay the levels hasn't really bothered me so far because they're kind of like little tiny puzzles. And each board doesn't really take that long. Now I'm starting to get a little aggravated though. Did the bat get me? Gotta do this over again. No, that's what I needed to not do. Alright, so don't let a little lava loose. Alright, that works. So I am not a big puzzle game fan whatsoever. I generally hate puzzle games. I'm actually surprised. This is really a well-balanced game in terms of, did I kill one guy? In terms of how it constantly causes you to kind of multitask and shift focus between, you know, being good tactically, ship flying and shooting aspect, to focusing on, you know, rescuing humans. I don't know why I'm oh, you're horrible. To dodging lava. You're just never really doing the same, you know, constantly throwing the change up at you. And as you can see, the combat aspects consistently cause me to lose my focus on rescuing people as I get more concerned about saving my own skin. So there's apparently kind of a need for speed or burnout kind of thing if you have to get enough stars or diamonds or whatever to progress past certain elements of the level. I guess that is the end of the level. Like I said, these are just little boards, I guess, that I have in between. What is that? One of the things I'm constantly looking for is, I like a good strategy game or a flight sim or, you know, a deep racing game just as much as the next person, but I don't have the time to play those types of games all the time because they're very heavyweight. take a lot of time. So I'm constantly on the lookout for games that, when you sit down and you play them for 45 minutes, you're absolutely guaranteed to get a certain degree of entertainment out of them. Somehow I gotta figure out how to build this thing up so I can get across. So I kind of sometimes think that as my guaranteed entertainment quotient. When I was in grad school, that's what would cause me to, play a lot of racing games. I knew I could sit down with a racing game for 30 minutes and make some progress, whereas, playing something like Infamous or Shadow of Mordor, I don't necessarily know that I'm going to make, a decent amount of progression in a 45-minute session. Or would cause me to play fighting games, Alright, so that might be it for this morning. Let me double check that real quick. Alright, so we're definitely going to be wrapping it up here. I have no idea what that guy said. I hope it wasn't anything, that I really needed to pay attention to. I can't get through there. So part of the problem here is your pew-pews have quite a range on them. And so I will say that my fratricide is not always intentional or careless. I just can't see that far ahead to know that there's a civilian in need of rescue. Tried to trick me. Or prank ya, as my kids say. Get some of these tchotchkes here. Computer, stop the timer. Alright, well look folks, that's going to do it for me. Once again, my name has been Ghastly Statements from GearWorks.com and the E2KG network channel on YouTube. Please go over there to E2KG and check out our podcast content. We do 2 gaming podcasts a week, one core discussion show sometimes focusing on playlists, and every other week it's a deep topic discussion on a particular current event going on in the gaming industry, or trend, or whatever, element of gaming culture. And then we do a weekly news show on Thursday nights where we get you briefed up and merrily on your way in 30 minutes or less while covering some of the biggest news stories in the biz once again every week. And keep it back here and head back here to check out more content on Rounding Off Infinity. So my shtick, if you will, is that I'm constantly changing it up, and as I talked tonight, or this morning, I spent a lot of time talking about the hardware and software that you can use to do game captures and streams and build your own content channel. So thanks again. I really appreciate anybody who drops in and check it out. Please like and subscribe. That's going to do it for me. I'm out of here.